I'm spending the next month in traction, so I won't do that. Greg and I met at the Moses Brown School in the fall of 1969 at a thing or place called Assembly. We sat not far from one another. I was the new guy on the block, having only entered Moses Brown in the 9th grade. Greg was a wily veteran, and I'd been told that he was a great guy, but very, very quiet. Well, during our years at Moses Brown, Greg's nicknames were Bonzo and Chairman Mao. He was nicknamed for a chimp and a dead commie. He loved it. He thought that was the greatest thing in the world. Well, he apparently had a premonition of what was to come because midway through sophomore year, he grew his hair down to his shoulders and began the attire that has made him famous in skit here tonight with everyone. You could always tell where he was on campus, however, because he wore the same ratty tan sweater for 4 years. It gave off such an aroma wherever he walked across the Moses Brown School campus that you always knew where Greg was. Always smelled Greg. Phil and Walter were talking about this halo that Greg now wears. I think they're saying things, but Greg began his role as a very humble, decent human being at the Moses Brown School. I remember our freshman year, and Greg was, as Keith told you, the star of the basketball team, star of the hoops team. And our freshman basketball team trounced that rabble from St. George's by 25 points. Well, in the next edition of the school newspaper, the Quaker, the headlines screamed, "Quaker Frosh crushed St. George's." The subheadline was, "Marcello, star of team, nets 32 points." The third line was the writer of the article, by Greg Marcello. Absolutely a true story. Everything you hear tonight is true, Melinda. Greg was also famous for his taste in music. Keith was talking about all the albums that Greg has acquired over the years. Well, his favorite by far, and the one that he plays almost every day, is his own special rendition of Mason Williams' classic hit, "Classical Gas." And I think more than anything else, that is how Greg will be remembered at the Moses Brown School.
I think that one went.
Well, you got it. You got it, and so did your family, so that's all that matters. Then there was a small trip we took. If any of you saw the slides that we were showing, at the end of our senior year, there was a small trip we took to Florida. Greg demanded, as a great leader, as Keith was telling, that he drive first. I'm going to drive first. I said, well, that's fine, Greg. As we were getting ready to leave Rhode Island, his father, who we all knew and loved at Moses Brown as the commander, took us all aside and said, boys, you're going to behave yourselves down in Florida. You're not going to have any spirits. You're going to be good Moses Brown students. As Greg was hauling the case of beer and the cooler full of Yago Sangria into the car, we were getting ready to take off. Greg demanded he drive first, and I said, Greg, the only thing you have to remember is when you get to the New Jersey Turnpike, stay on the Turnpike. Don't get on the Garden State Parkway or we're in serious trouble. Needless to say, he got on the Garden State Parkway. It took us 3 extra days to get to Florida. Fortunately, when we got there, we had a great time. And Commander, we took your advice every step of the way. We didn't chase women, we didn't drink a drop, and we led the lives of good Moses Brown students for 2 weeks in Florida. I promise you. I don't know how Greg gets any work done at Imperial Pearl with the Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, the Learning Connection. What else do you do? All sorts of things. And the next group that would like to honor you, the Spirit Club. Here's Carolyn Sheehan.
Well, I've got to be very gentle because Greg's still my boss, like many of you in the audience, so I can be quite kind. And I'm going to actually defer to the roister, like Greg often does to me, and he's going to help me out a little bit. I want to say that the Spirit program is a dropout prevention program that Greg's been involved with for the past 5 years. He's been a member of our board. He's been the treasurer of our board of directors, and more recently, he's been the president of our board board of directors. We had a meeting last week. He told me he's got about another year left in his term. Not. Yeah, we can change bylaws there, too. Greg, it's been absolutely wonderful working with you. And we have a group of very special adolescents that we work with every year. We have about 100 students, and Greg's very involved in all our activities, particularly the fundraising. A lot of you might have heard our name, or it might have come through your mailbox if you're at all affiliated with Greg. I have all his mailing lists. Now I've got the roster book where you signed in. That's mine, too. But that's been... but Greg's been really wonderful to us and to me personally, and I thank you very much. And I'd like, we always, with Spirit, the kids do a lot of creative writing, and we always have, at least in our book every year that the kids put together and write, we always have a rap song. So we figured, Greg, Spirit can't honor you without your own rap. Take it away, Royster.
Now, I have a chorus one. I did not write this rap, but I will sing it at my very best, and then I will give you a taste of my own rap on behalf of the Spirit kids. A beat, anybody? Want to go? We're here tonight to honor you. Greg, you're a homeboy and you always come through. For 5 years now, you helped us out. From the walkathon camping trip, there is no doubt. You watched us spending, budget cutting, mending. You raised some cash for the summer bash. You keep us all from dropping out. You're into education, there ain't no doubt. We hope that you'll stay around, you should. Greg, Marcello, and Spirit ain't nothing but good. Now, a little beat. When we started, just go. Boom, chicka, boom. Boom, chicka, boom. Now, this summer, Greg had given me the privilege to go on a camping trip with Spirit program because they were short of a few adults, which is a lot of adults. So I was there helping them out with the kids, and all the kids seemed to like me because I had my car and I had every rap song there was available to have in the car. So I had like 50 kids driving all the way up to New Hampshire in a little two-seat car. But they loved it. And the best thing, we all, on our way up to New Hampshire, we thought up a little rhyme, and it goes a little something like this. Greg Marcello is dope, so face it, shoot it, freebase it, pour it in a glass, drink it, chase it, then chill, fast. Feel his full effect. His impact is similar to a train wreck. It's whack to me when the beat is more hype than John Kirby, the MC. It's what he's saying is empty. Don't boy without something for content. You need to slow your speed, stop the nonsense. These are the words of the rising sun, surprising son, who thought it was just another humdrum, average type non-MC who found the mic and thought it was hype. Nah, that's not me. He'll take a page, write a phrase, and rephrase it, treat it like a national flag, and upraise it to make a nation of people feel proud. So a brother like me can feel proud. Thanks.
No, I'm not going to try that. When Greg started getting involved with the free school, as I knew it then, or the Learning Connection, he would call me, and you know, in that little excited voice he'd have, and he'd say, JK, I'm going to a free school meeting. I wasn't quite as impressed. I would say, well, what phone booth are they going to hold it in, Greg? He didn't like that very much, but since I was at the other end of the phone, he couldn't beat me up like he did in our Moses Brown days. But the Learning Resource Network has come all this way just to pay tribute to you. Bill Draves and Rick Walsh would like to say something on their behalf.
Good night, buddy. Thank you. I'm Bill Draves from Learn, from Manhattan, Kansas. And Learn, all the way from Manhattan, Kansas. More often known as God-forsaken Kansas, around here. It's a national association of organizations like the Learning Connection. And it was what Greg started 20 years ago when he wasn't locking his keys in the back trunk of the car. And I'm delighted to be here, and I really appreciate the invitation, except for the last line. where it said, "This is a dinner to honor Greg. Dress appropriately." And I said, "No way am I going to dress appropriately." And I'm glad nobody else did either. You ready? You having fun tonight? All right, okay. You want another top 10 list? You got one coming. I need some help here. On the last one, where you say on the number one thing, we need a little drum roll, okay? Until I do this, okay? Can you help me out here now? Just practice the drum roll just a little bit here. Good. Okay, no, you got, okay. Now you hold this up there, so everybody's, yeah. And when they do the drum roll, then you open that up and show everybody what it is, all right? Okay, ready? The top 10 things most people don't know about Greg Marcello. Ready? Top 10 things people don't know about Greg Marcello. Number 10, the total quality management plan at the factory is the same as the one being used by the New England Patriots. Number 9, he confided to a close friend, "I really like sailing. It's just that the waves aren't big enough." Number 8, the real reason he moved back to Rhode Island after college is that in all other 49 states, anyone who gets up at 3 a.m. has to wear a button that says, "I'm a little goofy." Number 7, the new health plan for the Learning Connection was designed by Admiral, I'm out of ammunition on this one, Stockdale. Number 6, for Christmas he plans to give all the Marcello women leftover supplies of Cher perfume. Number 5, he's the only man in America who watches David Letterman while eating breakfast. Number 4, before Walt Disney died, he fixed it so Greg would never turn 40. Number 3, his annual trips to Avon in New York are just a cover-up for his consulting job with James Blackwell's 10 Worst Dressed People list. Number 2, he can't tie a square knot. And the number 1 thing most people don't know about Greg Marcello, open it up.
Keep going.
He and Michael Breyer know a lot of accountants in Leavenworth, Kansas. Thank you.
I don't know how you follow that. Thank you, Bill. I should have gone first when we said before. I have the distinct honor of representing the Board of Directors of Learning Resources Network because Greg talked me into following him as president. Now, I have to explain to you my experience. You see, I ran into Greg, say about 5-6 years ago, and they said, "Well, we can't find anybody to be on the board. Would you like to?" And so I said, "I don't know. What do you do?" "Oh, we go to meetings in great hotels." We do. We go to meetings in great hotels for 17 hours straight, talking about the same issues that we've been talking about for 5 years. And Greg says, "Now you can be president and try to solve those." But I got to be on this group, and I was the president, and I said, "Well, tell me," I wasn't just on the board trying to learn, and Greg, I think he said, "Here's a guy, I can groom him. He doesn't know enough." So he puts me on the board. He starts telling me about this organization and gives me more, information. Right, the free university, the free school issue. But you see, little known to people is, I don't know if Greg, you gave them a name, but their first name was FUND. Free University Network, FUND. I'm not sure if they picked it because it stood for those words or it was what they had and had to find words that fit. Little did we know, as we went along, it became Learning Resources Network, and they spell it L-E-R-N. I haven't figured that one out yet either, but I spell it that way now too, so there's got to be some learning going around. And I became, on the board, and I'm watching this guy, and he's telling me stories about his sleeping habits, if he has any, his working habits, which nobody's really seen him do it, but they know he does it fast.
Whoa. Whoa. Take that back.
You like that one, don't you? And, all those things. So here I am, I'm trying to, there's my mentor. You know, I was a professional student all my life. I learned to dress, I thought. You know, and I started wearing my suits to board meetings, and I walk in and there's Greg. Didn't take me long, I'm quick. And so I'm trying to follow this man's lead, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning. The only time I see at 3 o'clock is when I've stayed up past midnight, not getting up out of bed. So I had the distinct honor, I think it was our second board meeting, in Manhattan, Kansas, in the Wigwam Hotel, to share a room with Greg. And you have to know my work habits. I work from about 9 o'clock at night until 2 in the morning and go to bed. See, if we got together, we could run a great business. 24 hours, you'd never go to sleep. So here I am. I said to Greg, I'm going to be out for a while. I'll come back in and see you. I come in. He's snoring away, sleeping. We're sharing this room. This is good. Next thing I know, the lights go on. No, he didn't turn the lights on. He was nice. He went into the closet and turned the lights on. Now I understand where the closet came from. It's been in his life all this time. And he's calling Ware Province, Imperial Pearl. I never knew he was in Imperial Pearl. I didn't even know about a jewelry manufacturing business. I thought he was in the Learning Connection. My God. So he's calling this place saying, no, do this, no, do that. No, not that. Oh, wait a minute. Well, get him. He'll work on it. Now, okay, here's your schedule for the day. Oh, my God, I had a headache the rest of that day. I learned one thing. I'm not going to follow him in dress or in his sleeping habits. But I did come to learn, and I am now the president, I think. I'm not sure. I have to check the papers once in a while, because I keep getting things across my desk, and it says, this is the way Greg did it. It's okay, right? Right. Okay. Don't change the ideals. Full speed ahead. But Greg said, don't worry about it. You'll do a great job. We reorganized. He got it all going for me. Turned me on, got me excited. They installed me last June. Hadn't heard from them since. Gee, thanks, Craig. They at Learn, they send greetings too. I mean, they're wondering what happened to you. So it's been great, and I pick on them a little bit. And the board of directors is a new group we've been developing and bringing along. And Greg has been a great inspiration. He has been a mentor for me. And the board has put together a little gift for you. You can open it at your leisure. And before I quit, though, I want to go back a little bit and tell you, I had the opportunity now to work with Imperial and to come in and see all you guys and do things with you. And I just want to tell one story, and it came to fruition yesterday. But 2.5 years ago, I made my first visit dressed like this, because that's all how professional consultants dress, right? You know, you'd never hire a guy, pay him good money, be dressed like that. Right? So I came in, dressed real nice. They said, oh, we'll pick you up in the airport in a panel van by a young kid who's playing rap music. I was impressed right off the bat. I walked into the place, you know. There's only 3 people wearing anything that looked like professional attire. One of them grumps at me, shakes my hand. And the other one's too busy telling me about his golf score, so... That and eating all the pizza that we had for lunch. Anyway, the end of the day comes by, and Greg pulls me aside and says, you know, if you're going to work with us, ditch the suit, get rid of the tie, and look casual. These guys will never believe you're for real if you come looking like that. I had to go home and buy a new wardrobe. Well, yesterday I came to Imperial for a visit. I haven't been in about 3 or 4 months. I walk in the door, I walk up to shake Greg's hand, and there he is sitting at his desk, and he's got a tie on. I'm in a dilemma. I don't know what I'm supposed to wear. But it didn't match the shirt, Greg. Greg, thanks for everything. It's been a great time, and I hope you take this in fun, and we really do mean it, too.
No, you can take a little bit more. One of the nice things about getting to know Greg is that it's a package deal. You get the whole family in one group, and it's been a lot of fun. Over the years, there has been no shortage of advice dispensed by the 2, well, I'll call them the leading members of the Marcello family, Mr. and Mrs. Marcello. The commander, as I told you, was always ready with a quick quip when we were at Moses Brown to keep us on the straight and narrow. And I can't think of many better times in my life than the great times we would have at the Marcello home on Love Lane, thanks to the great lady, as we called her at Moses Brown, wonderful food, and a lot of good times. Well, apparently that tradition of advice and consent by the Marcellos has been passed on to the good folks at Imperial Pearl and others that Greg has worked with over the years. And Roy would like to kind of sum that up for all of us who have known the entire Marcello family with this little song. So hold on one second. Roy, the employment office opens at about 9:30 tomorrow morning. Get there early, my friend. I did not know that you were there when Bob and Jane gave us that lecture before we went to Florida. That was very similar. When Greg left Hamilton College, he came right back to leave his mark on the state of Rhode Island and on the city of Providence. And we have asked the mayor of the great city of Providence to come tonight and say a few words about how glad he is to have Greg Marcello living in his city. Mayor Vincent A. Buddy Cianci. Mayor?
Sorry I'm late. I got involved in a Keno game downtown. Well, really the reason I'm late is because I saw the Healer was in town. Did you see that in the news tonight? The Healer came to town. You didn't see that? Well, the Healer, well, you were here. The Healer came to town, and so I was going to watch the Healer because the Healer says he's going to cure everybody, and, you start to gather crowds. And if you're running for office, you have to worry about people gathering crowds. So I want to follow this guy around. So I followed him around a little bit, and I went on Westminster Street there, and he saw this guy in a wheelchair. And he said, "How long have you been in that wheelchair?" And this guy said, "Well, all my life I've been this way." So he put his hand right on the guy's shoulder. And he said, "Walk." And the guy got out of the chair, started walking. I said, "Man, that's beautiful." Then he started to gather a little bigger crowd. He walked up toward Westminster, where the Dorrance Street is. And he started gathering a bigger crowd, and he said he saw this lady who was blind. She was over there with a stick and everything. And he said, "How long have you been blind?" And she said, "All my life." He put his hand up on her head. He said, "See." And she saw. She said, "Oh, it's raining. It's beautiful. I haven't ever seen this. The building's beautiful. That mayor's doing a wonderful job." And then he started walking towards City Hall, this Healer. Got to City Hall, he saw this guy come out of the City Hall with a cane, limping. So the Healer started to approach this guy with the cane out of City Hall, limping. And the guy from City Hall said, "Don't come near me, don't touch me, leave me alone. I'm on workers' compensation." See? That's why I was late tonight. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here. I was at really at a cocktail party last night with Senator Pell at Strange Relationship. Anyway, we were there for my state senator, who with Three Little Pigs, which is a little bar room over on Wickenden and Brook Street, called the Cafe at Brook. I was there. And we were there and celebrating this wonderful event, and I saw Senator Pell. I said, "Senator, you know that fellow Stockdale who's running for vice president? He's from Newport. I finally learned something. I know why they both live there. They both understand each other. They can talk to each other and communicate with each other." And the senator agreed. But really, it's a pleasure to be here because I once took a course at the Learning Connection. It was the escape route of Baby Shanks Pinocchio from Federal Hill, back in the 60s. And you can get a real education.